Alright, let's roll. Ever wondered how a simple rock thrown in anger evolved into a machine that can cross continents? Get ready, because we're about to embark on an electrifying journey through the science of war machines. This isn't just about metal and gears, these are history's real game changers. The titans of technology that shaped our world from the ground up. First stop, the ancient world, where muscle and might ruled the battlefield. For centuries, the strongest arm and the sharpest spear decided who won. But then, a revolutionary idea sparked in the minds of ancient engineers. What if we could throw things bigger, farther, and harder than any human ever could? Enter the catapult. Imagine this, it's basically a giant, super-powered slingshot. Early versions, like the ballista, were like massive crossbows, using tightly twisted ropes often made of animal sinew or even human hair to store immense energy. When released, that stored power would launch a massive spear or a giant rock with terrifying force. It's like winding up a rubber band 1,000 times and then letting it snap. These weren't just city smashers. They were psychological weapons. The sight of a boulder arcing through the sky, ready to obliterate your walls, was enough to make even the bravest soldier's knees tremble. The Romans perfected these machines, creating a whole family of them, like the onager, or wild ass, named for its powerful kickback when it fired. This was the first great leap, using mechanical advantage to multiply human strength, turning a few engineers into a force that could level a fortress. But what if you didn't want to just knock down the walls? What if you wanted to roll right over them? For centuries, cavalry was king. A thundering charge of horses could break an enemy line. But then came the mud, the trenches, and the machine guns of World War I. Suddenly, horses were tragically obsolete, mowed down in an instant. Armies were stuck in a brutal, static deadlock. They needed a new kind of beast, something that could cross the hellscape of no man's land, shrug off machine gun fire, and crush barbed wire like it was dry spaghetti. The answer? The tank. Picture a tractor, but wrapped in an impenetrable shell of steel and armed with cannons. The breakthrough wasn't just the armor, it was the tracks. Instead of wheels that would get stuck in the mud, the tank laid down its own road. A continuous belt of metal that distributed its massive weight. It was like wearing a pair of snowshoes the size of a car, allowing it to float over soft ground. The first tanks, like the British Mark I, were clumsy, slow, and terrifyingly hot inside for the crew. They were more like mobile bunkers than a swift cavalry replacement. But at the Battle of Cambrai in 1917, hundreds of these iron giants rumbled across the battlefield in a coordinated assault, shocking the enemy and proving that this new technology was the key to breaking the stalemate. The age of the landship had begun. Now let's take to the skies. At the dawn of the 20th century, the idea of flying was still a fantasy. But in just a few short years, the Wright brothers' flying machine went from a beachside curiosity to a weapon of war. Early military planes in World War I were flimsy contraptions of wood and fabric, used mostly for spotting enemy positions. Pilots would literally throw small bombs over the side by hand. But the real revolution came when they figured out how to mount a machine gun that could fire through the spinning propeller without shooting the blades off. The secret was the interrupter gear, a brilliant little cam rod system linked to the engine. It timed the gun's fairing so that bullets would only pass through the empty space between the propeller blades. It was a marvel of mechanical timing, like a drummer hitting a cymbal in perfect rhythm with a spinning fan. This single invention transformed the airplane from a scout into a deadly hunter. Suddenly, the sky became a three-dimensional battlefield, giving rise to legendary aces and dramatic dogfights. The plane wasn't just a machine anymore. It was an extension of the pilot's will, a new kind of knight jousting in the clouds. This leap from observation to combat defined a new domain of warfare and set the stage for the jet age. And what a stage it was! Post-World War II, the race was on for speed. Propellers could only go so fast before they hit a physical limit. The solution? Get rid of the propeller entirely. The jet engine was a game-changer of monumental proportions. Think of it like a continuous, controlled explosion. It sucks in huge amounts of air at the front, squeezes it with a compressor, mixes it with fuel, and ignites it. The resulting blast of hot gas rockets out the back, pushing the plane forward with immense force. It's Newton's third law: for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction turned up to 11. The German Messerschmitt Me 262 was the first operational jet fighter, and it was so much faster than Allied propeller planes that it seemed like a vision from the future. Pilots who encountered it described it as a ghost, appearing and disappearing before they could even react. The jet engine didn't just make planes faster. It allowed them to fly higher above the weather and anti-aircraft fire, and it fundamentally changed the pace of aerial combat from a graceful waltz to a lightning-fast duel. From reconnaissance jets like the SR-71 Blackbird, which could outrun missiles, to the nimble fighters of today, the jet engine has given humanity mastery over the skies. Of course, not every idea was a home run. History is littered with fascinating and sometimes hilarious failed inventions. Take the Great Panjandrum from World War II. The British needed a way to blast through German coastal defenses. Their solution? A giant rocket-propelled cartwheel packed with explosives. The idea was that the rockets would spin it up to 60 miles per hour and it would smash through any obstacle. During testing, however, the rockets started firing off unevenly and this massive, explosive wheel went careening wildly across the beach, chasing terrified onlookers and proving far more dangerous to its creators than the enemy. Then there was the